get a bit too noisy or uncomfortable, you get a bit dizzy, let me know. It's quite impacted, but it's a good progress. Big number. You okay?
Yeah.
Good. Plastered over your eardrums, final bit. Might be a bit noisier now, because some of your eardrum has revealed itself.
What's coming out?
Loads, yeah, plenty. There's this final bit. So this final bit of wax is actually stuck directly onto your eardrums. So we are approaching your eardrums. So if you can stay still as possible for them. Still a bit more, so hopefully your hearing will be slightly better when we get the remaining piece of wax out. I'm glad it's better already. Just get your head back in position. It's a little cravat where the wax can hide a little bed. It's a bit difficult to remove in this area, but let's see what we can do. What I will do for this final is put a bit of olive oil drops in there just to loosen it and soften it off the drum. Probably feel that I'm using, it's called the eye clear scope, and my other company, Clearwax, we developed this. It took a couple of years, and we now train ear professionals, including doctors, ENT specialists, nurses, audiologists around the world, actually. So we hold kind of bi-monthly training courses. Got a little bit left in the top corner. I've just bent my tube to get access to this little bit left in the top corner. Okay, so it's a little bit left. I'm just going to leave that because it looks very nice and sorry. Yes. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this last bit. It is quite embedded. I've got most of it out.
Okay.
I'm vacuuming it, and it's just not coming off the eardrum. So you don't want to cause any unnecessary trauma to the eardrum.
Okay.
But it should, your symptoms should be fine now. Yeah. How's that for you?
Yeah.
We go very deep into your ear, don't we now? Be extra cautious. going really well. Using a different instrument, it's called a fine lens. It's a bit more precise, removing bits off the eardrum. It's a bit quieter for you as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see the whole eardrum now. We're not going to try and get any more off the eardrum itself, because the problem's actually is waxy. If it comes out, I'll get it out.
Yeah.
That's given it super tangent. great. I can see the whole eardrum. You've got a bit of surface wax around the edge of the ear canal. That's fine. That's normal, healthy wax. Wax is good for you. It serves three main purposes. It's slightly acidic, so that inhibits certain bacterial growth. Also, the acidity repels insects from entering the ear. Wax in its nature is quite greasy, so it lubricates the skin that coats the ear canal wall, preventing it from drying and cracking. And it's sticky, so any foreign particles that enter the ear, it will stick to the wax. And the skin in the ear canal, as it sheds, has got a tendency to migrate outwards. It's a bit like a conveyor belt. So as the skin sheds and it works its way out, it takes with it the wax, and the wax will then expel any foreign particles or dust that has attached itself to it. So I can see the whole eardrum, bit of surface wax which we're going to leave, because if we start getting that out, we're going to start scraping and grazing the ear canal wall, and it makes you more susceptible to ear infections. How are you feeling?
A lot better. Yeah,
excellent.
I can just hearing your voice through that side is just amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what we'll do, we'll stand you up, turn you around, and we'll do the other side. From Cumbria.
About 3 hours driving.
Okay.
Just a couple of stops.
What made you come and see me in Leicester?
I think you seem to be the man to go to for this type of procedure. I didn't feel that the NHS system was going to help me in any great hurry.
Yeah.
And it was so debilitating, and it was affecting my work as well. I thought, well, you look like the type of person that could help me.
Can try our best.
Yeah, I really do appreciate you seeing me so quickly.
No, that's no problem. I've got a big piece of wax.
Yeah, bless them. Just the girl that did it, she didn't seem very confident in the procedure.
Okay.
And
was that the irrigation technique?
Yeah, and when I looked up about it, and I realised that the drops were just sitting on top. They weren't actually impregnating it.
It's on the surface of
which
the
led me to think that the wax was perhaps impacted. And I didn't think that they were going to be any procedure that they had was going to shift it. Obviously the next step would have been a referral, but it would have taken weeks.
Yeah, if not months.
I didn't actually realise, you could actually get this sort of service done. I think it's blissfully ignorant of these type of things until something happens.
You're blissfully unaware of what, until you're suffering from it yourself. I've got all the wax up from here.
Sort of inopportune time. And my son also gets issues with his as well, so it must be a family thing, or...
Yeah, quite likely. So as I said earlier, you can just use drops regularly now that your ears are clear, and that will try and rinse any wax that's formed.
My mother's in her late 80s and she's deaf, bless her. And she's had lots of problems with her ears over the years, and I think a lot of her problems might be down to wax, but she just won't let anyone touch her ears.
Oh, yes.
She's a very strong-willed lady. I encourage you to get someone to look at her ears.
Yeah, sure. So I actually train people around the UK, so I've got another website called Earwax, which I'll explain in a moment.
Yeah?
It's got this piece of wax in the corner and show you the move. It's a bit tricky. No, they don't make women like that anymore, do they? Strong-willed ones. Just to get that out. I can tell you what that is.
Yeah.
It's as bad as you may think.
And she's been someone that's I've had tinnitus myself, but she's had tinnitus for several years, about a few years now, and she doesn't tolerate it very well.
Does she wear hearing aids? Has she got a
She
hearing
has hearing aids, but she's so stubborn she won't wear them, or she leaves them
her.
switched on to run the batteries down on purpose.
Oh no.
There's all sorts of issues we have with her, but she's phase it out.
Yeah, there's There's no magic cure, there's no operational pill that you can take to eradicate the tinnitus. There's things that can help there. So if you do have a hearing loss and you have tinnitus, we always encourage you to try and wear your hearing aids as much as you can, because what the hearing aids can do is amplify ambient low-level background noise. Yeah. In a room like this, we may think it's quiet, but it's not. There is a noise floor. It's probably about 30 decibels, and the hearing aid can amplify that, and that can take the edge off the tinnitus, so it's not apparent to you. With tinnitus as well, a lot of people with tinnitus, you've got that vicious cycle. You hear the tinnitus, it kind of gets you anxious, stressed, and then that exacerbates the tinnitus. It's breaking that vicious cycle as well. So a lot of things you can do are things that de-stress you. Yoga, going for walks. But if you're really insistent on not wearing your hearing aids, you can always just have a television on in the background, a radio, just any kind of background noise which can help just mask the tinnitus. So that can help.
I'm a big music lover, and that helps me. I'm always wanting to listen to music, and it's just the tinnitus doesn't exist when you listen to music. It's fine.
And that could be twofold. So you listen to music, it's you're not feeling stressed, anxious, it's relaxing you, which is great. But also hearing the music can mask the tinnitus, so it's a twofold approach to that. So how are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah, I'm glad you made the journey from Korea.
Yeah, definitely,
Brilliant, yeah. I'll show you what your ears look like, nice and clear. Fantastic.
I mean,
so it will be a bit noisy. If it gets uncomfortable, it shouldn't. If it does, let me know. Quite sticky wax. I'm going to just use a different instrument. I'm just using an ear scoop to see if I can get in behind the wax and pull it all out in one go. It might be quite dense and sticky, so it's quite hard to remove its suction because it just keeps blocking up the suction probe. But yeah, I've got all of that out. So I just got a bit of dead skin at the base of the ear. Let's gently see if we can remove that. Feeling okay?
Fine, thank you.
That's good. So I can see the whole eardrum, just a bit of wax around the edge of the ear canal. I'm just trying to get. And I think we've just got a bit of dead skin which we're going to leave because that will just peel and it'll be a bit uncomfortable for you. Yeah, the eardrum's nice and healthy. All good? When you make contact with the ear canal walls, you can feel it, so I can see you move with it. So I can use the suction to remove it. Blocking my tube. However, I've created an opening there, so I should be able to get in behind the wax and scoop it out. You may feel me make slight contact. Yeah, nice, healthy eardrums, all visible. All the wax is gone. How are you feeling?
Absolutely fine, relieved.
Yeah, it's a lot in there actually, so it's all in the tissue.
Oh yeah. A certain pitch is recovered.
It's not generally the high frequencies, so
Yes.
earwax, any occlusion in the ear
Yeah.
attenuates so it reflects the high frequency sound. So now that I've removed the wax, you should be able to hear all the consonants, the S
Yes.
and the T, so it'll
Yes.
be a bit lispy,
Yes.
a bit metallic. You may think they've got a lisp when they speak, but that's all the high frequencies, so it does have an impact to your hearing.
And your recommendation to have this done, how regularly?
So
Given that, I grow quite a lot.
yeah, as soon as you feel you've got any symptoms, a bit of wax is actually healthy for you. Earwax is slightly acidic. The acidity in earwax helps inhibit certain bacterial growth, so it kind of prevents infection, or helps to prevent infection. The acidity, believe it or not, also, they say, repels insects from entering the ear. Earwax is generally a bit greasy, so it lubricates the thin layer of skin that coats the ear canal wall, and that prevents it from drying and cracking. And earwax in its nature is quite sticky as well. So any foreign particles, dust, pollen that enters the ear sticks to the earwax, and the skin that coats the ear canal wall, as it sheds, it migrates outwards. So it's like a conveyor belt. And as the skin migrates, it takes with it the wax, and therefore the wax can expel all the foreign particles that's embedded within it. So a bit of earwax is good. As soon as earwax is bad for you when it's causing you symptoms, so in your case it exacerbated your tinnitus a bit and you've noticed you're not hearing so well. So as soon as you're at that stage, then book an appointment. You can also use some olive oil ear spray. The one that we generally use is earache, and use that once a month, twice a month maybe. And what that does, it lubricates the ear canal wall, so it helps that natural migration of wax. If the wax is a bit hard or sticky, it can change the consistency so it can migrate easier. So that's what we'd recommend.
Right.
Just a regular use of that.
And that's outside.
We sell that here. You can get it from over the pharmacy as well.
The only bad habit I have, after showering, towel yourself down, is small finger into the ear to eliminate any water retention. Bad news? Or?
Yeah, it's bad because anything you put in your ears is going to force the wax further in. The best thing is to avoid water getting into your ear. Watering is not advisable in any case because it can cause infection, it can exacerbate the likelihood of an infection in your ear. So whenever you go for a shower or bath, you try not. I've got some clients who've been quite open. They get the shower head and rinse their ears out. So definitely don't do that.
Right.
You can also get some swim molds and swim plugs from over the counter. You can get custom swim molds, and they're a bit more expensive. It's where we take an impression of your ear, a bit like as a dentist yourself. You take dental impressions. We do the same thing for the ear, and we get a custom mold made. But I always recommend, prior to having that, try the ones over the counter. They're a lot more cost effective. They are suitable for you. Just use that. Yeah, so avoid water in your ear. Try not to poke in your ears, and use spray twice a month. And that's all you can do. And you're in the lap of the gods.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think it's a lack of resources within GP centres now.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, it's ridiculous, the lack of resources.
Someone's going to ask you to tilt your head
NHS as a whole.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult time, isn't it? So let's get this out for you.
The other one is softened it up.
It has, yeah, quite soft wax to the side. Getting its way out, I think. Yeah.
Which makes a difference.
It certainly will.
I mean, Dad wasn't aware of scaling being reduced, but me and my mum were definitely aware of it. Shout at his coffee ears.
As wax, given wax builds up gradually, sometimes I'm noticing it's friends and family that can notice the other person's not hearing so well. Bit of skin there. I've cleared all the wax out, just a bit of skin. I'm just going to leave that because it's quite noisy to remove. Yeah, I can see the eardrum there.
Well, I mean, I know that the wax does actually have a function, but what is that?
Yeah, so wax is slightly acidic, so it inhibits certain bacterial growth. With it being acidic, it can also help repel insects from entering the ear. It's greasy, so it lubricates the ear canal wall, the skin that kind of coats the ear canal wall, and it prevents it from drying and cracking. And because wax is sticky, any foreign particles in the atmosphere, dust, pollen, when it enters it, it sticks to the wax, and the wax generally comes up by itself. Your ear is like a conveyor belt. It secretes the wax comes out, it secretes more wax. So it expels foreign bodies from the ears. So that's the main purposes. Yeah, lovely, healthy eardrum. That's all done. I'll show you a video afterwards. So what we'll do, we'll get you stood up. I'll turn the tray around and we'll do the other side. Did you use the wax in both these or just the left side? Did you use the drops in both ears?
Yes.
Wax makes it a bit firmer.
No. That's his right ear, isn't it?
Yeah, quite firm in there. So we'll use a different instrument. What is it?
I've been doing it when he's been in bed first thing in the morning. Dad and I are both slow to get up. And he usually lies on his left side. So if I'm on the other side,
Oh, okay.
it's more likely to stay put on that side, on the left side. So I would have thought that the right one would have been more.
Wow.
So maybe it was just harder wax.
It's a huge
Oh,
chunk
gosh,
there.
yes, but just much more of it then.
Yeah, I think that was the case. There's a bit more there. Stuck in your concha bowl. So you've got a thin layer of dead skin on the eardrum on this side, so let's see if we can remove that. So throughout the eardrum. It was just actually a...
After about 3 days of putting them in, Dad's hearing suddenly got worse. Would that be the wax sort of swelling up with the oil?
Exactly that. The wax absorbs the oil,
Yeah.
and it swells and expands and creates more of an occlusion, more of an airtight seal, so it can in the short term affect your hearing. But got it all out now. You can see on the tissues quite a lot there. Okay, so it's going to look straight ahead. I want you to tilt your head slightly over towards your right shoulder. That's perfect. If it gets a bit too loud or it's uncomfortable, do let me know. I just need to tilt your head a bit more, that's it. Look its way out. That's a big piece. Got a lovely and healthy eardrum. We've just got a bit of wax around the edge. I can get that out for you. Yeah, I'm content with that. Yeah. You have got some around the edge of the ear canal wall. It's just surface wax. A bit of wax is good for you, it's healthy. If we try and get that out, we're going to start scraping the skin that covers the ear canal. It's going to be painful, you're going to be more susceptible to infection. The occlusion, the blockage is completely gone, eardrums are fully visible, looks nice and healthy, yeah?
Is that a pretty bad one, right?
The quantity-wise, I've seen a lot worse. Your ear canals are quite narrow, and the shape of your ear canals are slightly different. So everyone's ear canals are quite oval, like a rugby ball, but yours is more horizontal. So I think with your case, even a little bit of wax can cause symptoms. It can block your ear. So sometimes it's not the quantity of the wax; it's the location and how much it's creating an occlusion, an airtight seal in your ear. But yeah, all that. How do you feel on that side? Feel okay?
Yeah, it feels like that, yeah.
So let's stand. We've gone nice and healthy eardrum, bit of dead skin, surface wax once more, that's fine. How are you feeling?
Like a lot better, yeah.
Wasn't as much in your right ear. In your right side it came out in one big mass actually. Yeah, that was your right side, I would say it's what we call semi-occluding, half blocked, and your left side was fully occluding, so it's completely blocked. So as I mentioned before, you can use drops regularly now. Prevention's always better than cure. Once a month, twice a month. We normally recommend ear rolls, an olive oil spray, especially designed for safe use in the ear.
Olive oil drop.
Is it over the counter? It's not home olive oil.
No, home olive oil. No, it was a kind of like ear drop thing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. As long as it's over the counter, and just tilt your head to the side, apply the drops. 5 minutes. You can rub your tragus, this part of the ear, just to circulate the oil, and then come back the other way with a tissue underneath your ear for 5 minutes. Let it drain, that's the key. A lot of people, when they use drops, they tilt their head to the side, put the drops in, they don't drain it, and what happens, the oil gets the wax really soft and wet and loose, and the oil just drizzles further down the ear canal, and it rests on the eardrum. We want it to come out, so always rinse it. Don't do the opposite ear the same night, because if you do the opposite ear, when you come to drain that side, some of the oil from the first ear will seep back down towards the eardrum. So one ear per night, once a month, twice a month, and